It is now my pleasure and my honor to introduce and talk a little bit about our keynote speaker, Miranda Mann. Yay! Hi, Miranda.
It was like,
I love that.
do we do that?
Miranda Mann is a dog mom. She actually has her doggy here today. She's a daughter, a friend, an advocate, a nature enthusiast, a writer, a house manager, a health-minded person, and a person in recovery. Addiction was a devastating experience for Miranda, but Miranda is a strong woman in recovery. It took over her life and left her feeling hopeless. She never thought that there was light in the darkness, but looking back, it was always there. With willingness and a relationship with God and the right support, she was able to break free from addiction and live a healthy life in recovery. Now she supports others in their recovery journey. Today, her life is radically different. She's been living a fulfilling life in recovery for 3.5 years. Miranda is happily engaged with her community, working a full-time job, is present with family, and gets to be silly often. And trust me, I've seen that silly part. Recovery calls this happy, joyous, and free. Today, she has the tools to handle life's challenges and makes healthier choices. While recovery may not always follow a straight and easy path, challenges are met with gratitude along with the chance to live a life grounded in humility and connection. She gets to remain committed to maintaining her health, peace, and serenity. And it's Miranda's passion and purpose to help others do the same. Please help me to welcome our keynote speaker, Miranda Mann.
Let's see. Oh. It is a little overwhelming to see so many people gathered here today for Overdose Awareness Day, but thank you so much for coming. I've never spoken at an event like this, and I'm going to do my best. You may be here for your own grief or your own recovery, and that is most important. But do you realize that you are supporting all these other people by physically showing up? You are the manifestation of community. Everyone who is present is giving and receiving support just by being here. Take a look around. This is our community. This is our safe space. This is our means of help and support to keep moving forward. The global intention of this event is to bring people together to shine light, literally and metaphorically, on the impact of drug overdose. This includes honoring the memory of people who died, supporting those in recovery, and sharing our treasured community resources. You likely have a very personal reason for being here, your intention and your why. I know you're supposed to be listening to me, but take a moment to notice yourself. If it feels right in your body, take a few deep breaths. Consider what you hope for by attending this special gathering, and tell yourself silently what that is. And for those who know it and would like to join me, let's say the serenity prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Amen. I couldn't have predicted that I would be knowledgeable, let alone invested in a day that brings awareness to death caused by drug overdose, but here I am. I have been affected by overdose in my own story, as well as by the stories of countless others. These stories have changed me. At first for the worse, but today the impact has taken on a new purpose. For every overdose that ends in tragedy, there are endless stories of survival and recovery. It is important to be beacons of light for those on the path of recovery, supporting those fighting every day to reclaim their lives. A person with a substance use disorder is not defined by their condition. They are a person who deserves compassion, respect, and the opportunity to heal. Today, I am that person, but it took a really long time to believe it. For a lot of reasons, I should not be standing here today. But I'm forever grateful that I am. Addiction almost took my life more than once, and there were times I truly didn't think that I would make it. I didn't know if I wanted to make it. But by the grace of God and with the help of people who refuse to give up on me, I'm here. And when I look at my life today, I see a miracle, proof that recovery is possible. For as long as I can remember, I struggled with being comfortable in my own skin. I was full of fear and anxiety, but I hid it behind a mask of humor and forced confidence. On the outside, I seemed fine, but inside, I was lost. I started with marijuana, alcohol, that led to cocaine, then Molly, and eventually meth. Then I was using and doing all the things I said I couldn't do. I told myself I was in control. I told myself I'd never go further. Today I know that the disease of addiction always takes you further. The progression of the disease is a very real and harsh reality. On May 5th, 2016, while living out west in Portland, Oregon, my life changed forever. I was drugged by someone I knew, and the attack lasted several days. For days, I felt pain, certain of what was taking place, but too impaired to fight back. I remember trying to beg for them to stop, knowing that there was no sound to my voice. In my mind, I remember standing on the porch. The sky was a deep purple, and I couldn't understand why no one was asking if I needed help. I also remember a clock counting down, awful grinding noises, and other horrifying details. I'll never know what all truly happened to me, but what happened killed me, and thinking about that pain I felt for years to follow almost ended my life. It is a full circle moment to be sharing this part of my story amongst all of you wearing deep purple shirts today. It's amazing how God changes the narrative. Later, while at the hospital, the doctor told me that my heart had stopped. I had all the signs of a stroke, or possibly multiple ones. My system had large amounts of LSD, meth, fentanyl, and some kind of horse tranquilizer. Being told I overdosed while being raped is the trauma that pushed me further into addiction. And I did something I swore I would never do. I started using the needle. The disease doesn't care about your nevers. It doesn't care about what you say you'll never do. It wants you to feel pain and do anything to numb it. This dark time was my never-ending excuse to use drugs and drink the way that I wanted to. Addiction consumed my every thought and behavior. For a few months, I was around more drugs than even I could keep up with. I was strung out, traumatized, and sick. Before I came home to Ohio, I overdosed again. This time, no one drugged me. This time, I think I did it on purpose. I didn't think I could live. I believed I was ruined. But on July 18th, 2016, I somehow got on an airplane to get home. I weighed about 90 pounds and I was completely out of my mind. Thank God, I had a family to come home to. But the way I came home put my family through so much. I was terrified to go outside. I couldn't run a vacuum cleaner or use a hair dryer or use a shower. If I couldn't hear what was going on around me, I would flash back to all those horrible memories. I was even afraid of my mother. I was afraid that she was drugging me too. I was afraid that reporting that crime would make those people find and hurt me again. I was unstable, broken, and godless. Being home and with family helped, but I could not stop using. My life was a cycle of jails, ER visits, withdrawals, and rehabs. Eventually, no matter how much or how little I used, I was always sick. My amazing mom got the worst of it all. My outbursts of fear and anger, my tears of feeling like a ghost. My disrespect for blaming her for everything. And still she loved me and tried to help me. I remember when every time I drifted off to sleep, I would drift off into a nightmare and wake instantly in a panic. My selfless mother would sit next to me with her arm around me and say, "Stay with Mama." She did this and got up for work every day so early. I'll never be able to repay her for loving me when it was the hardest. Today, I forgive myself for almost making my mom get the call that her daughter didn't make it. For almost hearing about the way I was living from a police officer. For almost being in prison for wrecking and killing somebody else. For almost leaving her behind and missing out what we have today. I used to feel so guilty for being alive when others weren't. I lost people who didn't make it, and I cared for these people deeply. Tiffany, my longest friend's sister. They share the same birthday, and every year my friend since first grade has to celebrate hers without her sister. Patrick, a classmate, a boyfriend, a wonderful uncle who loved nature as much as I do. They had passions, hobbies, and loved their families. Their lives and so many others, I carry them with me, and I carry them with me every single day. That guilt has been replaced with the fuel to keep going. A miracle happened on March 15th, 2022. That day, my mom dropped me off at a sober living home. And God did for me what I was never going to do for myself. He placed me in a house full of women just like me. Women who understood, who held me accountable, and who showed me how to work a program of recovery. It is not my fault that I was drugged, sexually assaulted, and abused. No one deserves to be hurt that way. However, working a 12-step program of recovery allowed me to see my part in it. When I could see my part, that's when I began to move forward. That's when I became alive and the parts of me I believed were dead. Being around other women gave my story a chance to see I wasn't alone. My story was in the story of others. And I learned that when we relate instead of compare, we can heal. In sobriety, I've lost people too. Alicia stands out because she's someone I got sober with, someone I lived in sober living with, and we finished treatment together. She told me that her higher power was the rain, and I will always think of her when it rains. And I hope that wherever she is, she's riding horses. In my recovery, I came to know my higher power as God, the Creator, the Father, and the Spirit of the universe. Over time, and with the help of my wonderful grandmother, that growing relationship led me to God's Word. Today, I call my higher power Jesus. Saying his name has changed everything for me. It transformed my story from destruction to survival, from brokenness to leadership, and finally into a testimony with purpose. Because of him, I am transformed and I am saved, and this means everything to me. Recovery taught me to get on my knees and pray. The Holy Spirit showed me to lift my hands in praise. Both keep me in a place of surrender. And today I know that surrender is not a one-time choice, it's a lifestyle. The spiritual life is not a theory. I have to live it. Today my life is built on things I never thought I'd have. A relationship with God, gratitude, humility, and a life of service. These are what keep me sober. I have a purposeful job in a community where people help each other heal and grow. I have positive relationships with Firelands Counseling, Bayshore Counseling, Ottawa County Courts, the Ottawa County Health Department, Magruder Hospital, Oak House, and CrossFit Port Clinton. A year ago, I cried at a recovery meeting, overwhelmed and exhausted. I asked for God's help, and he showed me that help was here. Individuals at each of those organizations I just listed have helped me personally or have played a huge role in fighting to help others. And I thank you so much. And God restored another big part of my life. My fear of men haunted me for a long time. The attack I shared isn't the only time something like that happened. Unfortunately, I have several assaults in my story. But the way that I see men today is completely different. Working on a team with Jeff, James, and Ken isn't just a job. It's a gift to help each other help others. Each one has their strengths, their insights, and their own recovery story. The kind of stories that gave my story hope. Knowing that there are men doing the next right thing for their work, their families, and their community has helped me heal more. On this Overdose Awareness Day, I share my story for Tiffany, Patrick, Alicia, and for all the others who didn't get the chance to stand here today. I share it for myself to never forget where I come from. I share it for anyone still trapped in the darkness. There is something bigger than yourself to pull you out. This Overdose Awareness Day gave my experiences a voice, something I didn't know I needed. But the emotions I have felt today and leading up today reveal a very positive truth. When the darkest parts of my story shine light onto someone else's path to give them hope, I am right where I need to be. Recovery is very possible. Healing is possible. Even after trauma, even after hopelessness, even during addiction, even after believing you're too far gone, there is still a way back. There is a solution. My life today is living proof, and I ask you to help carry this message forward, to speak openly, to break the stigma, and to honor those we've lost by fighting for our living. I would like to share something from a book I came across the last time I was in rehab. It's titled Until Today. It's a devotional book with each month dedicated to values such as faith, forgiveness, and peace. I love the month of November, which is focused on service. After reading this, you'll see why I've carried it with me the past 5 years. There are no coincidences in God's kingdom. The greatest service I can offer is being a light on the path. At night, the ocean can be a huge, dark, and scary place. When riding on the seas, you can never know for sure if the water will be calm or turbulent. You never know if you will drift off course or run aground. That is why there are lighthouses. When ships lose their way, they are guided by the lighthouse. When there is trouble or danger at sea, you can seek refuge by the light of the lighthouse. In the midst of a storm, the lighthouse will always guide the ship safely to shore. Best of all, there is always someone in the lighthouse. Be a lighthouse. Let your life be a shining symbol for others. Let everything you do be in service to someone. Stand tall in the knowledge of who you are. Stand proudly in the midst of difficult times. Be aware that who you are and what you have to offer can be a beacon to some lost soul. Be a lighthouse keeper. Be on the lookout for lost souls. Be alert to those who may be in need and have nowhere to go or no way to get there. Be a lighthouse to a child. Guide a child. Protect a child. You don't have to say much. Just let the child know that you are there. Be a lighthouse to an elder. Someone who has traveled the sea of life but now needs a little warmth and comfort. Perhaps some companionship and conversation. Be a lighthouse to a young man or woman who has lost their footing or may be losing their direction in life. Remember, no matter what condition a wind-blown sailor reaches the lighthouse, the keeper is always welcoming, the keeper always encourages, the keeper always has something on hand or knows what to do to get you up and sailing again. Until today, you may have been wondering how you can be of greater service to your family, your community, and your world. Just for today, be the keeper of a lighthouse. Today, I am devoted to shining the light of compassionate support and service on those who may be in need. In closing, and inspired by the reading I just shared, I end with this to help this community. Be a lighthouse to an addict, someone who is lost in the dark seas of addiction. Pray for them. Speak life to them and about them. Be a lighthouse to a parent who has lost a child to overdose. Be a source of unwavering support and offer hope for healing. Be a lighthouse to a brother or sister who lost a sibling to an overdose. Share stories of victories over struggles and let them know it's okay not to be okay. Be a lighthouse for a grandparent who lost a child to an overdose. A kind smile, a handshake, or a hug can mean more than 1,000 words. Be a lighthouse for a person in recovery who lost someone they loved to an overdose. We see too many gone too soon, too often. Don't give up on us. Believe that someone is going to make it. In John 8:12, Jesus says, I am the light of the world. Whoever follows me will never walk in darkness, but will have the light of life. May the light of others here and no longer with us, be the beacon of hope that keeps us sailing. Thank you.
So proud of you. Thank you.